He's also the CEO of RavenQuest and Biomed, joining us from Kelowna, BC. Good to be with you, George, today. Thanks so much for your time. And given your background, given the fact that you were brought into Bonify on the back of a problem, give us a little bit of a background in terms of what happened and why you're the key person.
Well, at Bonify, we had a couple of issues. They had some unauthorized cannabis come in, and really there had to be a process, a really distinctive, quick action process to gain the respect of Health Canada and show them that we were moving in the right direction. And that direction included, removing some senior executives there and one board member, and then really working to establish that relationship of trust with Health Canada again.
How difficult has that been? And of course, we're talking about this in light of CanTrust.
Yeah, first off, we don't do any work for CanTrust, and I don't know anything on the inside, but the work is rather difficult. We use 3 words to really describe what Health Canada is looking for from our internal processes that we use as a consulting company. Say it, do it, prove it. So you can say that you're doing something, you have to do it, then you have to prove it. The real long part of the task of going through something like this is demonstrating on multiple occasions through batch records and through operating on your SOPs and quality control documentation that you can actually do it repeatedly after you've made your mistake.
And when you think about CanTrust, or we think about CanTrust right now, what kind of information do they need to be providing to Health Canada? What needs to be in this report?
Well, they're going to have to explain in detail what actually happened. Like, what was the process that went through to get them to where they're at today? So this investigation should be very inclusive of making sure that they've looked at internal documentation such as emails. They probably have reviewed some of the batch records. They've looked at internal processes and documentations that told employees what to do to move cannabis into those unauthorized rooms. At the end part of that report will be very clearly how they think they're going to change that. And then what I believe will happen is Health Canada will come onto the facility in the very near term to actually take a look at and do their own investigation.
In your opinion, how has CanTrust handled the situation?
I've been looking at it kind of from afar. I think they need to do some more things. They're going to have to take a more harder look at, how did some of the financials get signed off with some increases in production? How did some of the biological assets increase without any increase really in production? They're going to have to answer those hard questions because they're publicly filed documents and signed off by the board and also by the CEO and the CFO. I think post that, what they're really going to have to do is take a hard look at how their seed to sale management system or their what we call the tracking system, how could you have moved that cannabis through that management system and not only got it into the vault, but how did you actually sell it and put it out into Denmark and out into the Canadian population?
You mean without knowing?
Without knowing, and with that being said, they're going to have to try and figure that out and peel back that onion. The problem really comes down to here is their standard operating procedures or SOPs that tell people what to do. And if there is a case here where management or someone under control told the employees to do something different than the SOPs, that's a long, hard argument to explain to Health Canada how you're going to fix that up.
How difficult is it in terms of the operation?
It's going to be very difficult because what we've seen at Bonify is we have to go back and build confidence back into the employee base that they can actually run to the SOPs. From a business standpoint, it's extremely tough. You lose your revenue for a very long period of time. You're burning through cash, and then hopefully you can build up some inventory if CanTrust can maintain their cultivation license. You want to try and build up your inventory in your vault, and then at that point, hopefully you can return to revenue by getting your sales license back. But I think they have a long road to hoe. I think this is going to probably be 8 to 12 months minimum.
Wow. Going back just for one moment in terms of the SOPs, standard operating process, within the cannabis industry, is it that much more difficult than any other industry? And I'm asking because, obviously there's been a big mishap here, and maybe it's because it's a new industry, it's a growth industry, people are still learning how to go about doing things. Would you make that case or no?
No, standard operating procedures. I've been working in the regulated spaces from working with the financial side of banking, healthcare. These standard operating procedures are quite normal. But when you're in a nascent industry with potentially people who use creative entrepreneurialism to try and think that they can get around the SOPs, this is where the problem comes in. No, standard operating procedures have been used in the food industry and in the hemp industry, the cannabis industry. You can run to them, and there's a lot of great companies today running to those standard operating procedures without mistake or fault.
So, George, how shocked were you then when you heard this news?
You know, I always looked at Canntrust as a really great company. I was really quite shocked, but I'm starting to see a trend. When you start to see things happen where management gets changed out, and you start to see management teams that are not really agriculturally based and don't understand the agricultural side of the business, then we start to see mistakes. We've seen it at Ascent Holdings or Agrima. We've seen it at Bonafide. I think we're starting to see it at Canntrust. I think highly of Canntrust, and hopefully they can get through this.
Give me a little bit more sense, though, in terms of why you need to understand the agri side of the business. It seems like a different conversation.
Yeah, you know, because, you know, to make a good wine, you have to have a good grape. To make good food, you have to have good food ingredients. To make a good cannabis-derived product or good anything out of cannabis, you have to have a really good plant material. So, you know, you really have to understand how to grow, how to grow effectively, and how to build your inventories up first and foremost. This is an agricultural business, but after the agricultural is done, then you start to make a out of it. And in all three cases, with Ascent and with Bonafide and with Canntrust, it all happened around the growing side of the business. Let's
just go into a little bit more detail here in terms of Agrima Botanicals. They did get their license pulled from Health Canada earlier this week. First time that it's happened in the sector. What exactly happened in that case? And a lot of people are wondering if it can happen again.
You know, all three cases are similar but different. I know that sounds weird, but in Agrima's case, it seems as though, based on the stuff I've read from Health Canada, that some of the product was leaked, being sort of appropriately in its seed-to-sale system or its tracking system. So it looks like they were caught sort of allowing product to get out into to alternative markets. So I think from that particular case, they tried. Health Canada, from what I've seen, give them all the opportunities to really look at reestablishing their license, and apparently they just didn't get over the bar. And then thus at that point, the assets were sold out to another company, so their Canadian assets are no longer in place, so revoking the license made sense.
Was there a high bar for Health Canada to pull a license?
Yeah, it's a very high bar. You know, it's very difficult in any regulated industry to pull the license. You have to be able to, they have to be able to show that there was no other path for them to success back to getting their licenses back. In this particular case, I think that was very difficult. And I think in the industry in general, there is a set built within the Cannabis Act, and in that process, you get, as a licensed producer or standard cultivator, as they're referred to now, you get the opportunities to state your claim and your case. If you can't, well then revocation is the only option.
Canada, don't take away Canntrust license.
How frequently do you think we might see this as we see this nascent industry grow? And to your point earlier, not everybody has the background.
I don't think we're over yet. I've said it a couple of times before on air with BNN and the group, and I'm going to say it again. I don't think this is the last one. I still think there's still more to come. I think the smaller producers are doing extremely well. I think some of the larger producers are too motivated by production numbers and potentially revenue, rather than doing the hard things by blocking and tackling every single day to do the right thing from the cultivation. Expect more to come myself.
Interesting. And what's your sense in terms of how institutional investors are actually looking at the Canntrust situation? It's also listed in the United States. Do you think that the U.S. regulators might get involved somehow, some way?
I think so. I think there's going to be some things going on. I've received a couple of calls from funds out of the U.S. This week. It's kind of been a busy time to be on vacation, but taking those calls. I think there's more to come. I think people are very interested to see how this could happen, how many different paths of signatures, sign-offs, and what was going on in the businesses was made to the public and filed, and why didn't some of the senior management know what was going on? At RavenQuest, we're very good at finding out how these problems happen, and I look forward if I receive the call from Canntrust and helping out.
Just lastly, George, do you think Health Canada is well prepared and knowledgeable?
Yeah, they really are. I mean, this is a self-regulated system in Canada. That means you're supposed to report when you have your own problems. So they're not going to be coming in there every single day to check on what's going on. You've earned your licenses based off of what you said you're going to do, and you've said it, done it, and proved it in the past. I really think Health Canada is in a great place, but they're going to be motivated by two things: to keep the product safe, and number two, make sure to keep it out of the hands of young children or kids. It's the same thing that's always been the case for Greenmap, for Bonify, and now CanTrust. And they're going to have to take a serious action on it. But they're well prepared and they know exactly what to do. I've worked with them through the Bonify case. They have a great team of lots and lots of people who look at the problem and can come up with some great questions to find a way to solve your suspension.
Okay, good to know. George, nice to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's George Robinson, acting CEO of Bonify. He's also the CEO of Ravenquest Biomed, joining us from Kelowna, BC. Stay with us. We're going to have a U.S. perspective on the troubled Canntrust company. We'll be right back. BNN Bloomberg Radio.
So that was a Canadian perspective on the Canntrust issues with Health Canada. And now they're going to, that was BNN Bloomberg. And now they're going to have a U.S. perspective on what's happening with Canntrust. So essentially, Canntrust is, today's the deadline for them to report back to Health Canada about this instance. So essentially, Health Canada doesn't do random testing. They've allowed the Canadian companies to report back to Health Canada at their convenience, essentially, once they've received the license. Now, I believe because of this finding with Canntrust, that they're going to start realizing that maybe they need to do random testing. Maybe because the way they've been operating, allowing these LPs to have so much freedom, has given them the room to try to pull these types of moves, has given them the room to try to make these types of mistakes, has given them the room to essentially operate illegally. And that's why we're seeing other companies now start having some issues as well. The reality is there's going to be more, and I believe there's going to be more and more of this. And I think that the solution is Health Canada needs to start doing random testing of their licensed producers, whether you're a small, medium, or large size producer. I think Health Canada just needs to do random testing and literally just start walking in the facilities. Why not? Then they're going to be able to eliminate all of this nonsense that's going on, and it's going to protect the industry and protect the investors, because there's nothing worse, is after you bought the stock, and then by the time you figure that out, you're already down 20-30% on your position. How is that fair for investors? It's not fair for investors. So I understand the Health Canada's concern is to protect the public and make sure there's good products on the shelves. I also understand the Health Canada's concern is to protect the youth. At the same time, what about the investors? Is there a concern to protect investors, or is that not even a concern? If Health Canada has any concern whatsoever about protecting investors, then I think the best way to do it is to actually go out there and do random testing. Just do random testing. If you do random testing, Health Canada, then why would an LP even take that risk, knowing that at any point in time you could walk into their facility and be testing their product? I think that's the way to go. It's going to deter people. It's going to give them that cloud of doubt in their mind before they try to do anything that is above board, that isn't above board. So I think that is the solution, and it's going to be interesting to see what the Americans think. Let's see.
Where we get harmful products out to the consumer. We're still in the early days, but there are companies, whether it's on the technology side, but also on the auditing side, and partners that are in the ecosystem that can help cultivators do this and do it well. But the company also has to commit. It has to be at the top down a priority to be compliant, to be in good standing with the regulatory agencies.
That's an interesting comment, that the company must want to be compliant, must commit to this, because the allegation here is not only did they grow marijuana in unlicensed rooms, but then there's another allegation that's tested yet or verified that they created walls to hide the product. So in a case like that, where does compliance come in, if that is indeed even true?
It comes at at the board level, Greg, if this is spooking shareholders at the core of it. This is hurting the stock value. It's hurting the company.
Yes.
The future of the company is
Yes.
unknown at this time, whether Health Canada is going to revoke the license and cancel or suspend it, which I think would be a big misstep for the industry, or whether the company is going to be forced into an acquisition or it's going to be able to recover. But at the end of the day, compliance has to come from the board level. We need better governance. We need independent board members. We need more diverse boards. And then the management at the CEO level and the operations level has to be instilled into the values of the company so that every hourly worker is aligned with that, and we're taking the right logs and we're recording the right information, and we're tracking the right data during that cultivation process. I'll also mention on the tech side, one of the interesting things is there's been a really big focus so far on the post-harvest process. So we have seed-to-sale technology that's pretty widespread in this industry already, but it's only focused on compliance after the product's been harvested. The reason is that it's been a big taxation issue. We want to make sure that we have the right quantities being taxed at the right values, and that's okay, but now we have to turn our attention to the cultivation side and make sure that the plants, while they're growing and while people are handling them, are being tracked correctly so that the right product is actually being regulated correctly before it even gets harvested.
Is there something about this industry, about this crop, marijuana in particular, that makes these compliance issues more difficult than traditional crops, or is it simply just the newness of the industry?
It's just the newness under the industry. We see these issues in the produce industry all the time. We work with strawberry growers, lettuce growers, whether it's a head of lettuce that you're concerned about romaine outbreaks or cannabis getting mold and being released to consumers. Those are the same issues. And if we learned anything from some of the lettuce outbreaks recently, we still have this issue of traceability and understanding what's going on at the field level across almost every industry that touches consumers. So it's probably not a surprise that compliance is going to be an issue. An industry that's a lot higher margin with a lot of shareholder attention right now, especially in the private space. And so we have to get this under control in the cannabis industry and in every other industry. But we can take lessons learned from other industries and start to carry those over to the cannabis industry.
And stay with us. When we come back, we're going to take a quick look at one influential hedge fund's call on gold. We'll be right back. This is BNN Bloomberg.
So I always listen to BNN Bloomberg because they always have a very good opinion on the markets, and obviously they got their thumbs on the pulse. So, your boy Rich here. I like to bring you guys the news. I like to bring it to you guys first. Canntrust is reporting to Health Canada today, and they've got a report on their debacle that they've created that has cratered their stock, and essentially an omission of guilt that they built walls and were hiding 12,500 kilograms of cannabis from Health Canada. Now I'm finding out that Health Canada has been allowing these licensed LPs to report to them on their own accord. No wonder they're all doing illegal activities. They never had to worry about Health Canada ever doing a random testing of their facilities. Health Canada, if you're watching Rich TV Live, start doing random testing. Just like athletes at the Olympics, you start doing random testing. Yeah, some people are still going to cheat. But then, the people that get caught, they got egg all over their face. They get their medals taken away. They get shamed. And essentially it gives other athletes the confidence that, hey, you know what? I got to do this the right way, because if I do it the wrong way, I could get caught. I think, just putting that little bit of cloud of doubt out there will make a huge difference, and we'll see a lot less of these scenarios occurring, in my opinion. As far as where I think Canntrust goes from here, I'm really concerned about Canntrust. I think this is a major black eye for the entire industry. I don't believe they're the only ones. There are others, like they just mentioned, Bonify and Ascent Industries, who have both lost their licenses due to non-compliance issues in the past. It's a big negative. The gentleman that came on from RavenQuest and Bonify said that he believes it's an 8 to 12 month process now for Canntrust to get back to where they were. That's a big blow. That's a big blow. 8 to 12 months? You guys just lost a year. That is crazy. They're going to lose a ton of revenue. They're going to lose a ton of clients. A lot of those patients are going to go to other licensed producers because they're not going to want to wait for 8 to 12 months. I mean, this is brutal what is happening right now. Thank you guys for the 8 likes. I really appreciate you guys. And thank you guys for watching. Just trying to share with you guys my opinion. I'm on my way to the office. I'm going to be interviewing and doing a video on High Tide. HITI is the symbol. It's one of the new companies that I'm going to be covering. Take a look at High Tide, guys. I think they have a lot of potential. They're at a really low price. And I think they could be a really good company. I will be interviewing them soon. Today I'm just going to be doing a review on the company. And it won't be live. It'll be an edited video, I believe. I don't know. I'll keep you guys updated. I might go live. We'll see. But I'm headed to my downtown office. And I heard that BNN was going to be talking about the Canntrust fiasco. So Canntrust is going to be dealing with Health Canada today. Today is the deadline for the report from Canntrust reporting back to Health Canada about this fiasco. Oh, great. I think there's an accident here. Yeah, guys, don't be surprised that they're doing this. The reality is, I think there's a lot more other companies doing it too. The question is, how is Health Canada going to stop it? And if they can't stop it, how are they going to manage it? How are they going to minimize it? What is Health Canada going to do to change this, to help this not happen in the future so that shareholders can be protected and we can have a better regulated industry that we can be confident in investing into? Because why would anyone want to invest in an industry that is riddled with illegal activities, riddled with shady dealings? It's definitely going to make people steer clear and stay clear of this entire sector and say, you know what, I'd rather invest in gold. I'd rather invest in silver. Silver had a nice breakout yesterday. I'd rather invest in silver. I'd rather invest in gold. I'd rather invest in tech companies. I'd rather invest in oil and gas. Some people might even think that they'd rather invest in crypto. As crazy as that sounds, with all the shady dealings that have happened in crypto. But, man, you know, we're taking a illegal industry that is now becoming legal, and you had to anticipate that this was going to happen. I've been talking about it for years. I said, listen, this crossover of illegal to legal is going to come with a lot of infractions, a lot of illegal dealings, a lot of bad actors. And I'm not surprised. I'm surprised it was Canntrust because they're one of the biggest. And I never anticipated them to be one of those guys. Never, ever, ever. Well, not just say guys, one of those companies. Never anticipated it would be them, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to predict who's going to be the one, right? Unfortunately, it had to be one of the biggest licensed producers in Canada, one of the biggest licensed producers in the world, and that's the part that is so shocking. That's the part for me that is so shocking, is that we're talking about a company that has a ton of money in the bank, and a company that, to be quite frank, is one of the biggest licensed producers in the world. And now they're going to have to step back for the next 8 to 12 months to clear their name and prove themselves to be a good company that people can believe in and people can invest in and people can trust. The funny part about this whole thing too is that look at their name, Canntrust. I mean, how ironic is that? Your name is Canntrust, and now we know we can't trust you. I mean, that's as ironic as it gets as far as I'm concerned. There's so much irony there, it's just crazy. So, yeah, I don't really know what to think about this whole thing. I don't like it at all. I'm not surprised. I'm surprised it was Canntrust. I thought it would be some smaller LP that nobody really pays attention to, that, you know, would be getting the headlines for doing something like this. I didn't think it would be a top 10 LP in Canada. And funny enough, now CanTrust is saying they want to focus on doing business in America. I wonder why. They announced that right before the news came out that they're having issues with Health Canada. But are those issues Health Canada's issues, or are those issues CanTrust's issues? That's the million-dollar question as far as I'm concerned. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly Health Canada responds and what will be the, ultimately, what will be the decision. Are they going to take their license away? Are they going to fine them? Is it going to be a loss of license and a fine? Health Canada's already taken away other licenses. So it's going to be interesting to see what is going to transpire from all of this. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's going to be good, regardless of what Health Canada does. I can't see them doing something good. I can't see anything good coming out of lying about having 12,500 kgs growing behind walls. It's so short-sighted. I believe Bloomberg said that the estimated cost of the cannabis is about $70 million. So they've got like $70 million of weed just sitting on the sidelines. $70 million of weed. $70 million of weed sitting on the sidelines. And they're just trying to figure out what to do with it. It's craziness. It's absolutely crazy. I say give it to the people. Give the weed to the people. Sell the weed, give the money to the people. Give the money to the patients. Give the money to charities, cannabis education, cannabis research, CBD education, CBD research. Do something positive with this. Don't just find them and pocket the money, Health Canada. I mean, I'm just speaking out loud, but that's my opinion. Love to hear your guys' opinion. If you like this video, smash the like button. Thank you guys for the 16 likes. I really appreciate you guys. We are in downtown Vancouver and the sun is out. Blue skies. Been an interesting day. BILZ. Take a look at BILZ. Dan Balzerian's company has exploded today. They've been coming up from a bottom. They've had some good volume as well. And another company that is doing really well today is Neptune, NEPT, Neptune Technologies. They had a nice bump today. Suniva had a nice bump today. They went up a lot at one point, like 15% before they came down. I have no idea where they're at right now because I'm driving. At one point, I was up like almost $5,000 in one day. I contemplated selling. I didn't. I kind of regret it now, I'm not going to lie, because it came back down. But I believe it's going to go back up, so I'm not too worried. But, yeah, interesting day in the markets. BILZ going up. Neptune going up. Neptune Wellness going up. And Suniva going up last time I looked. Yes, very good points. Very good points. Yeah, I'd love to get your guys' opinions on this. Please comment on this video. Smash the like button. Share the video everywhere. The big news is CanTrust is reporting to Health Canada today its findings on its own illegal activities. Kind of interesting. So I'll be interested to see what the fallout is of this entire event. Is Kira having a nice day today? Please, guys, let me know. I'm driving. What's hot right now? What's up? What's blowing up? What's green? Let me know. Anybody know what the price of Suniva is? Or BILZ? Or Neptune? All three of those were green today when I left. They were having big days. Just wondering if they're still flying. Can you have a shout out? Let's give a shout out to Wildcat. Are you a wild cat? What makes you so wild? Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for joining. Big news of the day. We were just listening to B&M Bloomberg. Canntrust is reporting their findings of their illegal activities to Health Canada today. So hopefully we will have some type of a resolution to this sooner rather than later. Saniva's at 239 Canadian now? Really? Jeez. They were all the way at 278. And now they're all the way down to 239. Wow. Definitely a selling event today, that's for sure. You liked and subbed? Thank you very much. Yeah, Aurora's been down big today. Aurora's been down big today. I think that's a great buying opportunity for Aurora Cannabis. I think anything under $10, in my opinion, for Aurora is a great price. And if it goes under $9, that's even a greater price. So I would definitely be looking at Aurora very carefully right now. Netflix is down 11% right now. Yeah, Netflix has been getting crushed. Yeah, Netflix is down on news that they, for the first time in 10 years, didn't have growth. Their growth stalled for the first time in 10 years. So obviously the stock is going to go down. Hope you guys are having a great day. Looks like it's a red day overall in all the markets, including the cannabis sector. And that's a buying opportunity, guys. When the markets are red, that's when you buy. And when the markets are green, that's when you sell. In retrospect, I probably should have sold my Saniva today, but I knew that I was going to be going downtown and I wasn't going to be around. So I didn't want to miss out if it went higher. Apparently it's going lower now. I'm still up, so I'm okay, but probably, you know, in retrospect, I would have sold. I should have sold when I was up almost $5,000 this morning. I could have literally sold, and then on this next dip, I could have bought it again. That would have been nice. I didn't think it was going to go back in the 230 range, so I'm kind of surprised that it's back to that level. But, I mean, it was at 230 yesterday, so it's not like it's doing anything surprising. It had so much momentum in the morning, so I'm kind of shocked. But I think because the entire sector is red, that it's probably pulling Saniva and everybody else down with it, which I think is going to signal a buying opportunity. Wayland got crushed today. What else, guys? What else? Wayland is down 30%. Yeah, I would say that that's a crushing. That's a good crushing. Damn. You guys see BILZ? Yeah, Ignite. Up 12%. Yeah, I'm not surprised that Canntrust is down. I wouldn't be buying Canntrust right now. I would not be buying Canntrust right now. Thank you guys for the 23 likes. I really appreciate you guys. I would not be buying Canntrust today. Saniva is at 235 Canadian. Damn, so that was a nice little pump and dump today on Saniva. They pumped it all the way up. It opened at 250, went all the way to 278, and now it's come back down to 235. That's interesting. That's very interesting trading. Very, very interesting trading. Yeah, in retrospect, I should have took the money when I had the chance. Should have taken it. Should have taken it. I didn't see Saniva going back down to these levels. It's pretty funny. It's pretty interesting what it's doing today. I'm not in front of level 2, so I'd love to be watching what's going on. I know that when it got to the 270 range, a lot of selling came in. And I was watching level 2, and I was watching 278, 276, 275, and then thousands of shares were sitting on the offer trying to hold it down. You got a margin call today? On which stock? You're playing with margin. Are you shorting? Oh, damn. You got a margin call in ACB. Damn. They give you a margin call when it goes down 5%? It's interesting. Wonder how low it's going to go. It's very interesting. That's why I don't like to trade with margin. I like to trade with a cash account. I do not like margin calls. They absolutely suck. It's happened to me before, especially when I did some futures trading, and it sucked. I lost thousands. And then literally the next day they would go up, and I would just be so choked. I'd be so choked getting a margin call, and then the next day the futures go up after they were just down and I got a margin call. Oh, just eating me alive. You think that Zenabis is next for cheating? Why would you even say that? That is one of the weirdest comments I've ever heard in my life. Like, do you even know anything about Zenabis to make a comment like that? It's just... Sometimes I wonder about some people, man. Sometimes I really wonder about some people. I think Zenabis is the next one to cheat. Hey, man. I think Zenabis is the next one to cheat, guys. Come on, man. Grow the fuck up. We're talking about real money here, man. Whack-ass comments, man. Some fucking whack-ass comments. Trust me, I've been to Zenabis' facilities. They are tight as fuck. I've seen their vault. I've been in their facilities. I've toured their facilities. They are not going to be one of those companies that's going to voluntarily cheat. If they make a mistake, they're going to own up to it. But they're not going to voluntarily cheat in their 2.1 million square foot facility in Langley. They're not growing a bunch of weed right now. They're waiting for Health Canada to give them the license to grow in there. Some people just want to say dumb things, man. They got nothing better to do. I think we called them trolls in 2019. They got nothing better to do in their lives than go into just different channels on YouTube or wherever the hell they are and just say stupid shit to try to cause some type of a rise out of somebody. But at the end of the day, I know for a fact, because I know people heavily involved with Zenabis, that they're one of the most compliant companies out there. So I'm not worried at all about their compliance. That's the least of my concerns with Zenabis. Mind you, I never thought that Canntrust would have issues. So you never know. You never know. What's going on with Alifia? I think Alifia is just kind of like everybody else, you know, like companies like Zenabis, companies like Saniva, companies like Alifia. They're just going through growing pains, and they're not at the same level as a Canopy Growth. And when you're not at the same level as a Canopy Growth or Kronos Group, you know, you're going to go up and down until you get to that level. And the reality is Canopy Growth has $1 billion partner. Kronos Group has $1 billion partner. And that's why both of them have done extremely well. I think that if Zenabis got themselves $1 billion partner, if Saniva got themselves $1 billion partner, we'd see them both skyrocket. Truly, we'd see them skyrocket. Zenabis doesn't have unlimited money, and that's an issue. Suniva doesn't have unlimited money. That's an issue. Until these guys get a ton of money behind them and a ton of money in the bank, they're still going to be small companies. But once they get a lot of money behind them, they're going to become really big companies. They're going to be absolute giants. That's why I've really positioned myself in both of them and have determined both of them to be undervalued, underappreciated, and underexposed amongst their peers, especially long-term. I see a lot of potential for both. And I see them both going to at least $5 to $10 in the future. When? I don't know, but it will happen. You can mark my words. I remember I waited a long time for Village Farms, and then when they exploded big. Yeah, imagine. I can't imagine Canntrust wanting to get bought out at these prices. You've just lost half of your market cap. Now you're going to get bought out at this point. It's like a desperate move. I don't see it, but you never know. You never know. If the guys that started the company just want to be first money in, first money out, and that's going to be their exit strategy, maybe they take a look at this as an exit. But if I'm the one building the company and I just lost 50% of my market cap, what negotiating leverage and power do I really have? Little to none. So is it really the time to be acquired? I'd rather be acquired when I'm at a really good, strong point where you're priced very high and you can get a bigger bang for your buck. That's my opinion, but everybody's different. Depends on what everyone's goals are. You know, Canntrust might feel because of what's happened here, maybe they have no choice. And maybe they need to go in a different direction. But I also see them getting through this. And I see them doing much better in the future, very similar to Organigram, who had pesticides in their crops, had a big scandal, stock went to $1. Told everyone that one day you're going to see this as an amazing buying opportunity. I never panicked. I always believed in the company. And we've seen them go as high as $11. So anybody that got in at $1 made a killing. So at some point, Canntrust will hit a bottom. They'll continue to be a player in the sector. They may never be the player they were supposed to be, because this might forever be over their head. Or they might get past this and people might forget. People have a way to forget. It's weird. People forget scandals pretty quickly, especially if the company does well in the future. So buying Zenabis and ACB today for the long term is probably a good idea. I would say so. I would definitely say so. I'm not here to tell you when to buy or sell, but you're talking about good companies with huge potential. But I'm not a licensed advisor, so I don't like to tell you guys when to buy or sell. I'll tell you when I'm buying and selling. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, but I'm not going to be the one to tell you guys when to buy or sell. That's just not my style. It's not how I roll. Maybe one day once I'm licensed, if I get licensed, that possibility is on the table, but right now, it's not really something I like to tell you to do. Do I think that ACB will hit 850? It could. It definitely could. It hit $5 last August. That was its low of the last year and a half. Was last August. So I think it hit like 564. So yeah, it could. It definitely could. Anything's possible. Remember, these stocks need to go down so they can go up. That's how we make money. And as an investor, we want to buy them when they're low. We want to buy them when they're low and sell them when they're high. All right, guys, I got to do a video here on high tide. I'm going to be at the office shortly here. I wanted to bring you the news on Canntrust trying to resolve their status with Health Canada, which right now is in jeopardy due to the fact that they were growing $70 million worth of cannabis illegally behind walls at one of their facilities. Will this get better? Will this get worse? Hopefully it gets better, but I honestly have no clue what it's going to do right now. I don't feel good about it, and I honestly don't know what's going to happen. So hopefully it gets resolved, and hopefully we can move on from this, and hopefully Health Canada doesn't try to make an example out of them. But I have a bad feeling that that is exactly what they're going to do, and that scares the shit out of me, because that will not be good for the entire sector if they decide to make an example out of them. But like I said, I have no idea what is going to happen. I am just speculating. But like I said, I'm trying to stay positive, and hopefully they'll get through this. Hope you guys are having a nice day today. I know that the markets are pretty red today. Canntrust is going to be responding to Health Canada today, so should be interesting to see what that response is. Hopefully it is positive. Hopefully it's very positive, because right now it is looking very bleak. And Canntrust has been going down ever since, well, even before the news broke, they started to go down, like everybody in the sector. And then once the news broke that they were doing some shady dealings and got caught with their pants down, at that point, the stock started to come down aggressively. And there's been a couple days where it's rebounded a little bit, but it wasn't sustainable. All right, guys. I'm going to be doing a video on high tide today. Keep watching, okay? Keep your eyes on high tide. I'm going to be doing some coverage on them. And keep your eyes on Canntrust very carefully. Aurora Cannabis is down. Dan Bilzerian's company, BILZ, is having a awesome day, and let's see what you guys say. Love high tide. Take care. God bless. You think Health Canada has to make an example? You think Health Canada has to make an example out of Canntrust? You think they have to at this point? I don't think they have to do anything. I think that CanTrust has already lost half of its market cap. I think that a fine would be good. And I think that hopefully CanTrust has learned from this and they never make this mistake again. So that's my opinion. I don't think taking their license away is a good idea. The only people you're going to hurt are the patients. I think CanTrust made a stupid mistake. They're owning up to it. They've got $70 million of cannabis just sitting there now. And hopefully Health Canada reviews everything and they make a good decision, recognizing there's a lot of investors involved and recognizing that the only people they're hurting are the investors and the patients that right now can't get access to their medicine. So thank you guys for watching. If you're not winning, you're not watching. This is your boy Rich from RICHTVLIVE, and I'm out. Peace. CanTrust. I don't think we can trust CanTrust. Can we trust CanTrust? Or can't we trust CanTrust? That is the question.